Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another political episode. So, Republicans have a great chance on flipping the United States Senate in this year in the United States Senate race. That will ultimately play off a good role in in taking back the Senate in 2024. Ultimately, we have to actually admit that there are some polls that are aiming against that. If we recognize these polls, we will perform much better. But let's take a look at these polls. That should kind of concern you. Taking a look, here is the current situation in 2024. You're seeing a situation. I'm looking at Florida and Nebraska, and you're looking at like Florida. How did Democrats suddenly get Florida? And I want to really take a look at this poll I found in July, showing Rick Scott being defeated by Debbie McCarcel Polwell by 44%. Wow. Now it does say this is just what once again a poll all the way from July 2023. This shouldn't concern you. Seeing plus as we are seeing here, from the Cook Political Report, we are having a likely Republican, a solid Republican, a very likely Republican, in November of 2023. But I really want to kind of play with this poll a little bit, guys. Play with it. I want you to think about Rick Scott. Rick Scott is not really the strongest guy. Okay, I like Rick Scott. He's an amazing man, but he is not the strongest candidate. He barely won a gubernatorial election to Alex Sink, who is, let's see, a CFO of Florida teacher. Oh yeah, yes, CFO, Chief Financial Officer. That's pretty much her background story. Yes, he barely won that. 2014, he barely won against Charlie Crist, but his biggest victory would be in 2018, where he barely won against Bill Nelson. So he keeps winning margins of less than 1%. And that kind of concerns me. And I really want you, please play with the poll. Please. I'm not saying, that Debbie Polwell is probably going to win this election. No, this is just one poll. About 1,000 people took this poll, and Debbie McCarcel Polwell managed to win this poll, all the way back from July. However, we're having good predictions already, saying like the Cook Political Report, along with Inside Elections, Sabudu's Cristobal, Elections Daily, and CNN analysis. They're both showing great results for Republicans. So I can't necessarily give this to Republicans. Oh, I really, really want to, because I feel very confident. Yeah, Republicans are probably going to win Florida. Rick Scott's going to get another term. However, I cannot do that because this is a polling lead example. Now, this is not my personal prediction. This is just results of polls. So what about Nebraska? What on earth is going on in Nebraska? What's the problem in Nebraska? There's this guy named Dan Osborne, and he is picking up quite momentum in the state of Nebraska. Even so, he won the very first poll from Change Research, showing him defeating incumbent Deb Fisher by 2 points. I'm like, how? First off, no one who knows who Dan Osborne is. Who's Dan Osborne? Who is this guy? Ultimately, it looks like the Democrats have not really nominated anyone. They're probably going to go with Oz here. And I'm like, ultimately, do I think this poll is all the way back from November of 2023, so pretty recent? But do I think does this mean Deb Fisher is going to defeat um, Dan Oz by, I should say, does this mean Dan Osborne defeating Deb Fisher by 2? No. Obviously. Well, I think the election could be more unusually closer, and I don't think it should, because Dan Osborne, and he only raised $55,000 in a campaign. So, and no one knows who he is. No background, no link. Who's Dan Osborne? Mechanic and former president of Bakery, Confectionery, Tobacco Workers, and Grain Millers International Union. Okay, so he's a unionist. So he's probably going to get a lot of manufacturers, auto workers, etc. However, what Deb Fisher kind of needs to work on is containing the farming vote, because that will pretty much determine which will win. If she can win that. All right. So yeah, Republicans looking very good. So let's see here. A best scenario: Republicans keep Nevada. Republicans keep Florida. I'm breaking the polls, by the way. This is no longer the polling roster. Kari Lake is somewhat doing okay, but let's see. We either need to win in Montana, or we either need to win in Ohio. So realistically, these states are the closest. Democrats, we are gaining in Michigan. We have not yet won. We've won a poll in Michigan. And I'm encouraging Republicans to go with James Craig. Craig. Let's see. He sounds familiar. But James Craig. Governor of Michigan. Candidate, disqualified governor of Michigan. Yeah, I think he a former Democrat. I think he would be good for the go. Personally, yeah, he won one poll against Alyssa Slotkin, who is most likely going to win the nomination for the Democrats. But as of right now, Slotkin remains a pretty good favorite in Michigan. Yeah. So probably not. We probably wouldn't be winning Michigan. Sherrod Brown looks like he's going to win renomination. Pennsylvania, Virginia looks the same. So it's really up to Montana. If we can win Montana here, this is what it would look like. Yeah, sure, Kari Lake can win of the Arizona election. However, there is said to be a scandal that is not really popular, and she's becoming very unpopular in her party. This is probably just the rhinos, but yeah, they're giving her a lot of beef for this problematically, but what do you guys think? So this is pretty much if Republicans win the Senate, this is what probably it will look like. Let me know down below what your thoughts. And anyways, I want to thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.